UFC 319 delivered. It really delivered until it didn't. Let's talk about this fight card. Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis. Khamzat Chimaev walks away with the middleweight strap after a dominating yet incredibly boring fight. And we're going to discuss this here. Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Combat Corner, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Shomot. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Appreciate everyone who jumped on board on Saturday for the UFC 319 live. It was fun. Let's do it again. We're gonna make some changes to it, but definitely look forward to doing it again with you guys. Appreciate y'all jumping on board. The fight card itself, overall, some great fights. I thought it delivered exceptionally well. You had a massive upset. You had some controversy. You had some slugfests. You had a near shocker. You had it all. You had it all. You had two spinning back elbows in the same fight, in the same card, back to back. Just a lot of oh my God, wow moments. And then you got the main event, which was an absolute freaking snoozer. Oh my goodness. I could not possibly imagine that fight being as bad as it was. I had picked Dricus du Plessis to win the fight. I was so wrong, as were so many other people that I know that picked Dricus du Plessis. We all largely thought that there's no way that Khamzat Chimaev could just hold this man down on the ground for 5 rounds, basically. You knew he'd be taken down. You knew it. But it looked like Dricus du Plessis never spent 5 seconds working on sprawling, never working on actual wrestling. It was shocking how easily Khamzat Chimaev took Dricus to the ground. And he took him to the ground and he held him there. And he didn't let him go anywhere. And Dricus was so afraid to give his back up because his jiu-jitsu game isn't on par. And so he's afraid of giving up his back and possibly scrambling out of positions. You got him getting caught in multiple mounted crucifixes. Never seen a guy get held in a crucifix for as long as he got held in a crucifix. It was actually kind of embarrassing. It's shocking that this guy was a champion. Against anybody else, he looks amazing. Against Khamzat Chimaev, he looked like he was in middle school. It was a joke. Between the mounted crucifixes, the inability to get back up, the inability to scramble, it was just like everything was based on power. And I think that's where we all got it wrong. We all thought that maybe that his power would be able to get up. It didn't. And Khamzat kept really tight pressure on him, held him chest to chest. He couldn't move. The strike difference was absolutely ridiculous. However, Khamzat Chimaev didn't really land anything of substance the entire fight. He only had 37, significant strikes, despite having 529 landed shots. It's because he just basically laid on him and was doing these pat punches to the side of Dricus's ear or head, and that fight was just utterly awful, horrible. Horrible. And then you get to round 5 where finally Mark Goddard starts standing them up off of this sleep fest we got going on. And that's when Dricus landed a few shots. He actually had Khamzat in a bit of trouble because Khamzat's striking game is terrible. He can't throw punches. He cannot throw punches. He got hit a couple times, and if he hadn't have gone tried looking for a takedown again, it's possible Dricus could have knocked him out in the final 2 minutes of that fight. Dricus actually gets his back. He tries to go for the guillotine, doesn't get it. I mean, he pulled guillotine, he ends up on his back. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry, he had a rear naked at one point. He pulled for a guillotine on one, ended up on his back, didn't make a lot of sense. Then he has a rear naked, he couldn't get it. But the thing is like, bro, I'm not understanding. I am understanding. I understand why Khamzat doesn't want to stand because he can't fucking throw hands. His hands suck. And I'm not being dismissive of his dominance. He dominated this man. He physically dominated him. It was a skill that he has that clearly Dricus has no answer for. And the reality is, I guess the thing that's frustrating for me as a fight fan and an observer is that we've seen this before. Khabib Nurmagomedov completely dominant in his wrestling, but Khabib would try to finish the fight. And a lot of times he would finish the fight, even against the best. Islam Makhachev tries to finish the fight. I'm watching Hamza. I don't see him trying to really finish the fight. And let me explain what I'm talking about. He catches, he has him in side control literally the entire time. Very few attempts to advance. Because if he tries to advance, then there's the possibility of him getting shucked off. And he doesn't want that. If there's he got him, he had mount a few times, but then he'd lose it. But then, let's say, for example, when he would have that, he was holding Dricus from behind and just kneeing him in the butt. Now, Dricus's butt must hurt today because he got kneed in the butt 100 times. Now, from a perspective of someone that's watching the fight that wants you to see, wants to see if you want to finish the fight, he tries to advance on that. Instead, all he does is hold. And he's just so heavy up top, and Dricus couldn't get him off of him. But also, Dricus was afraid to make moves also that could subject him to that rear naked. So there was a few things involved on both sides, but you're in dominant position. Are you trying to finish the fight, or are you just trying to hold him? So while he's crowned champion, I'm sitting here saying, now I really believe, because I believed it before, but now I really believe that if Kamaru Usman goes up to 85 and fights him in a 5-round fight, Kamaru Usman beats Khamzat Chimaev. I have no doubt in my mind about that. I believed it beforehand. I absolutely believe it now. I absolutely believe it now because he's not just going to be able to hold on to Kamaru Usman for dear life. He'll get under the ground. He got under the ground before. But remember, that was Kamaru Usman with no training, a week's notice, trying to conserve cardio. But by round 3, Kamaru Usman was laying it to fucking Dricus du Plessis. I'm sorry, he was laying it to Khamzat Chimaev in round 3 of that fight. And if that fight had been a 5-round fight, there's no telling what would have happened, but I believe Kamaru Usman would have won that fight. We didn't really see Khamzat's cardio tested on Saturday night because he didn't have to really expend a ton of cardio other than laying on somebody. It was very, very frustrating to watch. And, who he fights next, we'll see. I mean, people are talking about Fluffy Hernandez. People are talking about Renier de Ritter. There's all options. What you need is someone that knows how to sprawl and someone who's who's either a high level wrestler who knows how to sprawl. So he's not just taken down and held for 21 minutes in a 25-minute fight, or someone with some level of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, not some level, but a high level of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, so that when he's in guard, he doesn't want to be in the guard. He wants to get up. And that's something that you need to see, or both. That's why Gilbert Burns was a big problem for him, despite Burns being way smaller than him. Burns gave him all kinds of problems. I thought Burns won that fight. I'll go back on that. Again, I think Gilbert Burns beat Khamzat Chimaev. I thought Kamaru Usman was really close to getting the job done. And he didn't get it done, but I thought he was really close to it. And in the 5-round fight, I absolutely believe Kamaru Usman beats Khamzat Chimaev at 185 and wins that belt. And I think that's a fight that Kamaru Usman should be calling for. Bump the 170 crap. I would be looking to fight Khamzat tomorrow. I would want a rematch of that fight. I stepped in on a week's notice. I didn't train. I was out of shape. I'm ready to roll. Those are my thoughts on that fight. I just, very, very depressing and disappointing ending to what I thought was an epic, epic night of fights. Lerone Murphy with a spinning back elbow on Aaron Pico puts Aaron Pico out. I don't want to hear about Aaron Pico anymore. I picked Lerone Murphy to win. I thought and Aaron Pico, all he does is rush forward. He got Murphy down a couple times, but when it came down to technical skills, Aaron Pico is like a bull in the china shop trying to take somebody out, whereas Lerone Murphy is precision. And he used Aaron Pico's aggressiveness against him, charging in and lands a spinning back elbow that puts Aaron Pico into the ether. I mean, what a performance by Lerone Murphy. There was 2 fights like this where they were both knockout of the night. Have to be. And Lerone Murphy's in line for a title shot against Alexander Volkanovski. Volkanovski's already mentioned it on X, so that's going to be the next fight for Lerone Murphy. He earned it. I don't think Pico's the guy you earn it against, but it's the way he did it and how much the UFC is pushing this Aaron Pico nonsense. It's the same way Bellator did, and it's blown up in their face immediately. Jeff Neal and Carlos Prates. Carlos Prates and Jeff Neal was a banger of a fight, and it finished the exact same way as the Lerone Murphy fight against Aaron Pico. Carlos Prates lands a spinning back elbow right across the temple of Jeff Neal, puts him to sleep with 2 seconds to go in round one. What a finish. What a conclusion to that fight. Prates talking about going to smoke and drink and party, and he's going to keep on doing it. Calls out Leon Edwards post-fight. Wants to fight in Brazil in October, and it looks like they're going to make that happen. But Prates is one that's up and coming, and definitely an incredible knockout, another knockout of the night situation there. But to see back-to-back fights end in spinning back elbows is bananas, man. Absolute bananas. What a fight by Carlos Prates and Lerone Murphy. They made that fight card just back-to-back epic. Like when you look at epic moments, those two spinning back elbows were crazy. Now going into the fight with Jared Cannonier and Michael Venom Page, kind of went exactly the way we expected it to go. By the way, I did pick Prates to beat Jeff Neal, and I picked Michael Venom Page over Cannonier. He danced around for 2 rounds. He dropped Cannonier twice. Cannonier is just too slow, can't get in. Page is able to bounce around and make life miserable. The only reason the fight even was even remotely interesting was in round three. Page made a mistake, jumped in, lost his balance, and then ended up on the bottom. And he lost his balance. He took himself down, ends up on bottom, and Cannonier, makes it tough for him in ground and pound, but never really has Page in any major threat. Or there was never a real threat there. Although Cannonier did win round three, but Page dominated that fight. The fight went where he wanted it to go, and if he doesn't make that mistake in round three, he clean sweeps the thing. Big upset in the first, to me, was a big upset in the first fight. Tim Elliott over Kai Asakura. I had picked Asakura. Tim Elliott, man, what a performance. There was a point where, gosh, how did he finish the fight? It was a submission. But Tim Elliott was tough, man. And I wish they'd take this picture out that they have of him, because he came in clean cut pretty much. He chopped off all the Paul Bunyan hair and looked more clean cut. He fought an exceptional fight, finishes the fight with a submission as a plus 250 underdog. Another one that messed up my parlay, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, Dricus killed my parlay, so it wouldn't have mattered. Nonetheless, Tim Elliott with a win. I don't know where Tim Elliott goes next. He's 38 years old. Don't know what's on tap for him, where he goes, but it was a hell of a performance because he was a sizable underdog in this fight. I didn't get Asakura and what he was doing much in this fight. It just didn't make a lot of sense. But that was the main card. Going to the prelims. The prelims were crazy, and I'm gonna start from the bottom now. You had Alibi Idris against Joseph Morales. This was the championship to the Ultimate Fighter, Sonnen and Cormier. Idris is from Kazakhstan. He was a minus 500 at one point. I believe when I made the video for my projections, I had not watched anything of the Ultimate Fighter this year, in full transparency. So I had no idea who either of these guys were. And I just picked Idris because, minus 500, you'd think, oh, he should win the fight rather easily. Didn't happen. Joseph Morales absolutely dominated this fight from pillar to post. He whooped Idris's ass. He was more physical. He was dominant, and he submitted Idris in the second round. The desk was shocked by how well Morales fought. He had been in the UFC before, but he absolutely dominated this fight. Idris was 11-0. He looked confused. He didn't know what he was supposed to do in this fight. It was not a good performance by Idris, but Morales was flat dominant. Morales was under Chael Sonnen, and he got the win, and he won the contract. That was your opening fight, a shocking upset. Then you move into the prelims, Karine Silva and Diani Barbosa. Now, this one had some controversy to it because these two women had fought before 6 years ago. Barbosa had beaten Silva, but Silva had won 9 of 10. Her last fight she lost, but had won 9 of 10. Now, Barbosa's a big 25er. She's definitely a big 25er, and she probably could fight at 35. She's long, and she was able to take Silva down. She won round one. She was able to, also with distance, she was able to control the fight. Now round two comes in, and Silva's threatening Barbosa with all kinds of submissions. She outstruck her. She outstruck her convincingly in this fight, and this is why I can't listen to the broadcast, because the broadcast is very seems very biased, to say the least. It's a very biased group. I don't like listening to them when they're talking about fights. It seems like they're only watching it one specific way. And I thought this fight was an even fight going into round three. I thought Silva won round two. Just in round two, she outlanded her 49-23. And she was attempting subs. She was really going for the win. Now, round three, Barbosa, gets a head up on her, but then Silva again going for subs. She's close to subs, reversals. She outlands her again. Was it a close fight? Sure, but the amount of booing that went on after the decision was crazy. I thought Silva won the fight. Barbosa's coach storms out the ring. He's pissed off, and Silva gets the win. And all three cards, 29-28 for Silva. All three of them. It wasn't even a split decision. So whatever the guys on the desk are watching to what the judges are watching, and the fans weren't happy about it. I mean, I don't know. I thought Silva won the fight. I thought she did a lot more than people. People give a lot of credit for takedowns, but if you're taking people down and not doing anything, I don't give you credit for that. I'll never give credit for a takedown and you do nothing on top. It's pointless. You're not trying to finish the fight. Like that to me is the whole purpose of a takedown. If you're not trying to finish the fight, stand that shit up. I really wish that referees in fights had an edict that if you haven't done anything to advance position, and I mean realistically advanced position, like you're trying to actually do that, not just stay in guard and go blah blah blah. I'm talking about really advanced position. I think the referee should be required to stand it up after a minute. I don't want to see wrestling matches. I understand it's MMA, but MMA means you're also trying to finish. If you're there to hold, bear hug, and just keep someone on the ground, well, then I'm not with that shit. So those are my thoughts. Edson Barbosa versus Drakkar Klose lightweight bout. Went as I expected. Drakkar Klose was an underdog in this fight. Shockingly to me, I had Drakkar Klose. Barbosa is old. He's long in the tooth, and the fight he doesn't have the same reaction skills. His left eye was puffed the hell up by Drakkar Klose's right. I mean, he was landing that straight right all fight long. It was an absolute clinic in landing that straight right. He had no reaction to the straight right. I was like, don't even throw the jab. Just throw the straight right, because it landed every single time clean. Drakkar Klose wins the decision in this fight. No question about it. Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. Alexander Hernandez was a sizable underdog plus 260. I picked Hernandez in this fight. I thought he was a live dog, and he performed exceptionally well. Finishes the fight on Hooper at the end of round one. Hooper was winning round one, but Hernandez lands a big shot that ends the fight, and Hernandez moves on. Then you have Jessica Andrade and Lupe Godinez. This was an interesting one because you're watching this fight with Andrade, and Andrade is just throwing that rock and sock and robot shit. She's just moving forward the whole fight, and you give her credit for it because she looks like she's in fantastic shape, even at her age. She's only 33, but man, she looks like she's 40 plus. Her face looks just all, worn for all the fights that she's been in, and she's been fighting for such a long time. I was shocked when I saw that she was 33. I thought she was closer to 40. It's crazy. She was actually a plus 120. And Godinez was very, very technical, had her hands up, because you get hit by those bombs, those looping bombs, you can be put out. Godinez has her hands tucked in well, and she's just piecing Andrade all apart in the first 2 rounds. First 2 rounds, Godinez is absolutely dominating the fight, piecing Andrade. Oh, Andrade is coming in, getting cracked every time. So it was a big time 2 rounds. Now I think Godinez got a little bit tired, and Andrade didn't seem to get tired and was just pouring it on, trying to land these bombs. She landed a few, was never able to put out Godinez in this fight. Never had her in real trouble, and Godinez walks away with the unanimous decision victory, 29-28 on all cards. I thought she clearly won the fight, and we move on. Gerard Meerschaert, Michael Oleksiejczuk. Michael Oleksiejczuk finishes the fight in the first 3 minutes of the fight. First 3 minutes of round one. Meerschaert just jumping onto the ground, falling on the floor, looking to have a jiu-jitsu matchup. And thankfully, Michael Oleksiejczuk saved us from the headache, and he puts Meerschaert out at 3 minutes of the first round. So another one of these fighting nerds guys. They're putting together one hell of a camp there where all these people are performing. By the way, Karine Silva's in Fighting Nerds, and who else? Oleksiejczuk's in Fighting Nerds, and Prates is in Fighting Nerds. So they got a lot of fighters in there. Now, Basangor Susrakev, Eric Nolan. This guy was a minus 950 Susrakev. Like, bro, he almost lost this fight. Eric Nolan gave it all he had. And he said at the end of the fight, man, you're just too big. But he gave it all he had. And he had Susrakev in trouble. End of round one. I tell you right now, round one had 10 more seconds to go. Eric Nolan puts that man out. He would have put him out. But, you know, you make mistakes in the fight. I don't remember exactly what happened. Ended up being a submission for Susrakev. I think Nolan made a decision I thought didn't make a lot of sense. Ended up on, in a bad position and gets subbed out of the fight. But it was a great fight for the 2 rounds that it went. He finishes it at 2 minutes after 2 minutes of the second round. It was a great fight. You have a plus 625 performing like that against a minus 950. Overall, like I said, this fight card was really, really good. This fight was a great fight. The Andrade Godinez fight was a good fight. The finish with Hernandez was good. The close Barbosa fight was a good fight. You just close dominated it. Silva Barbosa was a good fight. The opener was a good fight. Elliot Asakura was a good fight. Paige Vianier, I mean, it was okay. Prates Neal, a great situation. Murphy Pico, a great one. Overall, the entire thing, top to bottom, performed exceptionally well. And you know how critical I am of these fight cards. I thought it performed really, really well. And the one that I was sitting here, I told the people in my chat during the live, I said, I haven't had goosebumps for a fight in a long time in UFC. And I had goosebumps right before the fight with Dricus and Khamzat. And I tell you right now, I said also in my preview, I said Khamzat is going to shoot inside of 7 seconds. He shot at 5 seconds, 5 or 6. It was inside 7 seconds. And here's what makes it so bad. He took him down so easily. It wasn't, like I said, Dricus du Plessis never sprawled. It's like he's allergic to it. Doesn't even know what to do when it comes to sprawling. Flabbergasting to me. Flabbergasting. I had goosebumps going in, and after 30 seconds of round one, I was like, this fucking sucks. It was so depressing. Such a depressing fight. And I haven't had goosebumps like that in a while. And thanks a lot, Dricus. You fucked it up. But we'll see what happens in your future fights with these guys. And who does Dricus fight next? We'll see. Who does Khamzat fight next? We'll see. But that's all I got. Y'all let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell. This is Combat Corner, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.
Up and down through the blood and the sweat. Guarantee you can know I'm a threat. Up and down through the blood and the sweat. And I ain't close to being done yet, I'm going on.